Anna-Marie, the sheer logistics of putting on this enormous outdoor event, literally from scratch, for a voluntary organisation, talk to me about the challenges.
Well, I suppose volunteers is a huge factor for us, Matt, and that can be, I suppose in recent years, that's been a difficulty in itself because people are finding it harder and harder to get time off from work, and, they'll still want a few days themselves. A lot of our volunteers would be part-time farmers as well, and maybe have an off-farm income. And for them to tie up all their holidays and going to the ploughing is a big commitment, that having to take the week off, at a minimum having to take the week off to be there. So that's a big factor. You'll say then, we'd have a lot of GA clubs volunteering to steward the car parks, all different sporting organisations, but in particular the GA. And they have to do things like their members have to take a day or two off the week of the ploughing to actually steward, to make a few bob for their clubs. Big voluntary effort there as well, and a big commitment. But all our team as well, we there's a very few of our team actually paid staff during the event. The majority are volunteers, and I suppose it makes the rest of us very conscientious that at all times we're doing the best, doing things in the best interest of the organisation. I think there's people are a lot more conscientious when you work for a voluntary organisation, because it's somebody else's money that you're spending. Every time that you buy something, you're buying, it's the money of an organisation. And I do think, personally now, and maybe I'm naive, but I do really feel that in an organisation like the Ploughing, when it's a voluntary organisation, there's a huge ownership. There really is a huge ownership of the organisation, because, you're not looking at it and saying, look, this is Anna May's organisation, it's her money. Everybody around the country feels an ownership. Like, we'll get calls and emails and letters from people that are not members of the Ploughing at all. And they'll say, look, really like this at the Ploughing this year, but there's something you should change and something you should modify or rectify or improve. And they'll really feel a participation. And also what I really like is that we would find a lot of the organisations, the contractors that we would have, they feel a huge sense of association with making sure the thing is right. We would find every single contractor that's involved in the event, they'll really do everything that they can. You've seen at times like the storm in Offaly, and they will work day and night. It won't be for the extra money. It'll be just to get it over the line, and that another ploughing happens to the best that it can be.
Anna-Marie, one of the things that impresses me constantly is your ability to refresh the event. I mean, 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago, there was no innovation arena. Now it's an entire event of its own within the bigger event.
Yeah, and I suppose, if you look at all the huge organisations, they all talk about, brainstorming and webinars and seminars and every kind of a thing to come up with ideas. We've never got into any kind of fancy methods of coming up with ideas. We've just always relied on the feedback from the general public, from our members, from people like yourself, Matt, that's coming to the event for many years. The people that are just there on the ground experiencing the event and coming up with ideas, and also people that are travelling internationally with work and with in agriculture and in ag media and all that, and saying, gosh, we'd always have people saying to us, look, I've seen such a thing somewhere. Maybe it's something that you could try at the Ploughing. And if it's feasible, we'll certainly look at it, because we're very conscious that you have to be reinventing all the time. Now, we've a fantastic association with Enterprise Ireland, and they've put out all the stops in relation to making the enterprise innovation area work. And the number of companies that actually have done really, really well out of there is massive. We haven't even seen in the media the good news stories in their entirety, because a lot of companies are still at the point that they're kind of keeping it under wraps in relation to how well they're doing. But I know within Enterprise Ireland, they have been massively satisfied with the effect and the impact and the results that they're getting from the innovation arena. So that's very satisfying for us too.
Just finally, Anna-Marie, I spoke to your mother, Anna May, last week. She seems, on the phone obviously, she seems as enthusiastic as ever.
Oh, honest to God, Matt, it's working with somebody like Anna May, people say to me, look, is it difficult or is it easy to work with your parent? But I definitely, my experience, and May would demand more of me than she would of anybody. But right through the lockdown, and you know, there was good times and bad times. I lost my father-in-law in the middle of it all. He had a very hard time with a disease called motor neuron. And so we had the experience of a funeral without anybody in attendance. And I had to, when I went back to Laois after that, I had to move into the office for a couple of weeks so that we'd be away from Anna May. So we've experienced the full effect of the cocooning over the number of weeks. But she's been powerful. She feels very, very fortunate that she lives on a farm and lives in the country. She would always say that. And quite conscious of the people that are living in towns and in apartments. That's something now that really affects her a bit. But she's after baking for the country. She's after gardening and weeding. She's out watching mares now at the minute because we have 2 draft mares about to fall. So she's monitoring them and feeding them. And you know, she's just saying this is the biggest challenge she ever faced in her 80-something years. And at the same time, you just take it head on. Difficult with the ploughing being cancelled, obviously. Something like that has been very difficult. But she's looking forward to September now. Already, you know, trying to be innovative about what we're going to do. As we say, we're hoping to have the competitions, but we're also hoping to do something virtually with the exhibitors, just to give them a plug in some form, the 3 days of the ploughing. Because, you know, a lot of people go to the ploughing and they'll go back to the very same stand every year to buy something. And they might forget the name of the stand, but when they'll see them, they'll remember. So we're going to try and help them in that way. And Amaze there, you know, every time I leave the office for a couple of hours, I'll come back and she'll have another list for me to do.
I wouldn't have expected anything else. Anna Marie, thank you very much for chatting to me.
Thank you very much, madam. Take care of yourself and family.
Take care.